than we have all year. I don't need you to crunch numbers today. I need you to do a little something different with it. Woo! All right, you guys ready to go? Today, there's only 2 problems, but it's going to be a tough one today. This is a day I like to call Honors Day. This is a day typically it doesn't need to be taught. All right, this isn't on the curriculum for geometry. It wouldn't show up on the Regents if we took it in June. This is something that is an honors level. We take reflections and raise the bar a little bit. And why we're going to raise the bar is because, hey, I am not going to ask you to reflect over y equals x or y equals negative x, but a different diagonal line, a different one. So before I go into all the steps on how to do everything, I want us to remind each other what a reflection actually is. So if I have, and just stay with me here, if I have point A right here, and I ask you guys to reflect it through this vertical line right here, most of us will say, okay, it's 1, 2, 3 units away. So I go 1, 2, 3 units on the other direction, and here's your A prime, right? That's what we would do. Count the distance, make sure we match it on the other side. I tried to get through to you guys yesterday, and this is real important today, is when I make a segment out of A prime, what is that line of reflection doing? What is it doing to A prime? It's doing 2 things. It's bisecting it. And it's what to it? Perpendicular. So I tried to get through to you guys yesterday that, hey, any line of reflection is actually a perpendicular bisector for the segment. Okay? For the segment. Another little bonus here. If this is a bisector, give me a good geometry term for where it intersects my segment then. What is this called here? If that's a bisector. Go ahead, Amit. That's the midpoint. Okay? So the line of reflection is a perpendicular bisector, and it goes through the midpoint of the segment. That's what I need from you today. This is what I need you to use today, because your ability to count, useless. Useless today. Your ability to count. Okay? I need you to understand. Everyone all right? A line of reflection is the same as the perpendicular bisector for the segment. All good? All right, let's try it out then on this first problem. I'll give you point A and A prime. Which line do I reflect over? Very similar to the question I ended class yesterday in, but it's not horizontal or vertical though today. All right, let's graph this bad boy. A to -2, 3. B, or A prime, 3, 5. All right. What line did I reflect over? And I think we can all agree right away it's not horizontal or vertical. Did I graph something wrong? I called it. I do the same thing every class. Did this first period. A prime. There we go. Okay, so we're all in agreement. This is not a horizontal or vertical line I reflected over. Definitely diagonal. All right, so I need to still come up with that equation of the diagonal line. What do we know, though? Let's start right here with this fact. What do we know? The line of reflection, whatever the equation is, we'll find it. The line of reflection is the same as the what for A prime if I connected them. Go ahead, connect A prime. Why not? Let's connect them. Line of reflection is the same as what term have we been using for the segment? The line of reflection is the perpendicular bisector for this. So here, the line of reflection is equal to the perpendicular bisector of line segment A prime. That's all I'm asking. Can you find the equation of the perpendicular bisector that goes through A prime? And some of you are like, Absolutely not. But you know, you have so much tools already I've given you this year. You don't know it, but I'm going to dig it out of you, how to find the perpendicular bisector of AA prime. You have the knowledge. You do. I'm telling you, you do. I just got to dig it out and dust the cobwebs off. Here's where we're going to start with the perpendicular part. I need a line that's perpendicular to AA prime, and we're on a graph. We're on a graph. What am I going to have to start talking to you about that? We're on a graph. Quincy. Slope. Slope. We're going to have to start talking slope here, aren't we? So let's start talking slope. First, let's find a slope of AA prime. We're taking care of the perpendicular part right now. What is the slope of AA prime? Rise over run. Rise over run. Can you use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1? You can plug in the points, but hey, I just graphed this sucker. Can we just go rise over run? Rise over run. Up and over how many? Audrey, what'd you get? 2 over 5. So the slope of AA prime, that segment's 2 over 5. Ooh, are we going to know this part, though? Meaning, the line of reflection, which is perpendicular to it, I'm just going to put LOR. Is everyone all right with that line of reflection? Two lines that are perpendicular. Two lines that are perpendicular. What should I know about their slopes? Ooh, this was a tough one for first period. What should I know about their slopes? What's up, Em? Negative reciprocals, right? So if I have 2/5 for one line, the other line, take its negative reciprocal, flip it, and change the sign. What's going to be the slope of the line of reflection? Negative 5 over 2. Great job. You're halfway done. You're halfway done. You have taken care of the perpendicular part. So I know my line of reflection will have a slope of negative 5/2. Now we got to take care of the bisector part. Where is my line of reflection going to go through on AA prime? We just worked on it, right? The midpoint. It's going to go through the midpoint of AA prime. Can you guys help me find the midpoint of AA prime? Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Got that darn formula, huh? Oh, boy. Be lucky it's not distance. Anybody remember the old midpoint formula back in the day? We used to like each other. What's up, Omni?
Wasn't it like x1 plus x2 over 2 and then y1 plus y2 over 2?
You got it. Add your x's, x1 and x2, divide by 2. And then y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So you guys go ahead, use A and A prime, use their x and y coordinates, and go ahead and find the midpoint. And then some of you are saying, well, how is that going to help me? You'll see. All right, let's start hearing from some people now. That's when I turn it over. Whoa, Emma, go ahead. What do you got for me, Emma? What's the midpoint?
Sorry, I'm still working.
It's all right, go ahead. Sorry, my fault. Let me know when you're finished.
I got 1/2 4.
You got it correctly. You got it, Emma. Good job. 1/2 4. So there's the midpoint. So some of you are probably like, well, how's that help me write the line? Here we go. Here's why. If you're going to write the equation of a line, it's got to come in what form? Anybody remember from our writing equation days? Any line's got to come in what form? All ready? Y equals mx plus b. That's, if I'm going to write the equation of the line, it's got to look like y equals mx plus b. And you guys help me out here. I only know what value. M, which was our negative 5/2. I know what m is. I don't know what b is yet. That's why we found the midpoint. That's why we found the midpoint to help us find the y-intercept b. Do you guys know a y-coordinate the line of reflection will go through? Do we know a y-coordinate that the line of reflection will go through? Look at your previous step. We don't only know a y, we know an x and a y. 1/2 and 4. So it's going to go through 4. What's the slope of my line of reflection? Here we go. Negative 5/2. X coordinate it goes through? 1/2. And now I'm solving for b, so I can finally write the line of reflection equation. And I am not concerned at all that you guys have to do that. That's why you have your calculators with fractions on it. And I guess you could leave it as a decimal too. I'm not going to, but. Take your time, let me know when you're ready, and let me know your B value here. Sure, it's somebody in here, right? Ryan, whenever you're ready, let me know what you get for your B value.
(16/-5).
16. You got negative 5/2 times 1/2, right?
Oh, first half. (-5/4).
Yep, and then that's plus B. So now you got to move this over. So how are you going to move the negative 5/4 over?
Times by 4/-5.
Oh, it's being added though. That's the thing. It's not being, if this was being multiplied, you'd be correct. So I just want to get rid of it by adding it over. So add 4 plus 5/4. Go ahead. So 4 plus 5/4. Move that over.
21/4.
There you go. 21/4 is my B. If anybody had 5.25, that's fine. I'll accept that. All right, so here you go. Your equation of the line of reflection, y equals, it's perpendicular. So that's why it's going to be negative 5/2 x plus, using the midpoint because it bisects, we found the y-intercept to be 21/4. There's your line of reflection. Woo! Hey. If you just want to rephrase the question, yes, did I ask for the line of reflection? Okay. You could also just write instead, find the perpendicular bisector for AA prime. It's the same question. Anybody, because the next one's a lot tougher. I know, holy geez, how can it get any tougher? Anybody want to ask questions? Why we took negative reciprocal? That took care of the perpendicular part. Why did we find the midpoint? Because it bisects, so the line's got to go through the midpoint.
The B stands for the y-intercept.
Correct. That's where the line of reflection would cross your y-axis at 5.25. Go ahead, Radhika.
For these problems, would you also want us to graph like the final answer?
Nope. I wouldn't expect it because that's going to be kind of challenging to graph. Where 5.25 is, and then using a slope of -5/2, that'd be a little challenging. But if you wanted to do like a quick check, Radhika, and you wanted to try to graph it on your own, or maybe plug this equation into your graphing calculator and go to your table and get a couple points, graph it and see if it actually goes through the middle. All right, that might be a good check if some of you are worried if you didn't do the work correct or not. Anything else here, guys? Great questions. You ready for this last one? Oh boy, I'm sure. Buckle up. Come on now. Come on, you got it. Find A prime if I start with 1, 4. Woo, woo. We got this. Oh, how about that line I'm going to ask you to reflect over? Oh, that's not horizontal or vertical. Get out of town. I would like to see this line graph, though, so I can see visually what line I'm asked the beam to reflect over. You guys remember from your Algebra 1 days how to graph something like that real quick? Do the y-intercept, which is what here? What's my y-intercept? 2, so go to 2 on the y-axis. Graph it. And then I at least need one more point. I always like 2 more, but what's the slope of that line you're going to reflect over? 1 over 2, 1/2, so I can go up 1 to the right 2 to get another point. And just because I'm crazy, I go again, up 1 to the right 2. So here's the line I'm asking you to reflect over. And you're not counting a darn thing here. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Whew. Oh, man, guys. How are we going to flip A over that line? Ooh. Well, let's make a plan. What do we know? What is 1/2 y equals 1/2 x plus 2? That's the what? That would be the what of AA prime. If I knew where A prime was, this would be the what of AA prime, that line.
The perpendicular bisector.
Perpendicular bisector. So let's talk here. I'm just going to do it on mine. I don't want you guys to get messy on yours. I'm just going to eyeball this right now. Let's see. It's maybe about in this area right here. I don't know. AA prime. I'm just assuming that it's right there. Okay, everyone in agreement with me? All right, watch. So what a couple people just told me was 1/2 x plus 2, the line of reflection, is the perpendicular bisector for that, right? And keep going with the information you know. Hey, where those 2 lines intersect right now, where my segment and my line of reflection intersect, that's the what? Yep, that's the what right here, Quincy. One more time. That's the what? That's the midpoint, isn't it? Guys, I think when I introduced midpoint to you guys, didn't we do a couple problems where if you knew one point and you knew the midpoint, you could use it to get to the other point? You guys kind of remember that, doing something like that when we did midpoint? I gave you one point, you knew the midpoint, and you could use that info to get to the final point, A prime here. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do right here. That's our plan. Everyone see our plan? I'm going to find the midpoint somehow and then use it with A to get to A prime. That's our plan. How do I get that point then? How do I get that point right there? How do I find the midpoint? And it's not the midpoint formula. I can't use that. You got the thought, Quincy?
If you solve the equations of both lines.
So you're basically saying find the point of intersection of those 2 lines. You guys did that last year in algebra, I believe. You had 2 lines. Where do they intersect? That's my answer. That's my goal right now, is to find where these 2 lines intersect each other. Before you do that, though, you need the equation of both lines. Okay, you need the equation of both lines to find where they intersect. How many equations do I have? 1, the line of reflection. I need the equation for AA prime now. Let's do it. So the first thing I'm going to need is the equation of AA prime. If you want to know where 2 lines intersect, you need to know both equations, and I only know one of them. So step 1 is, let's find the equation of AA prime. You guys have practice in this from in the last problem. What's the form of all lines? Y equals? Can you find the slope of AA prime? I think you can. You can. I don't think, I know you can. Slope of AA prime. What was the slope of your line of reflection? 1/2. You know the relationship between the 2 now. So if 1/2 was for the line of reflection, what should be my slope for AA prime then. Come on now. Come on. Dig deep. 1, 5. Here we go. Will, good morning. Come on, Will. You can do this one. If the slope of my line of reflection, Will, was 1/2, what's got to be the slope of the line segment?
-2.
Thank you. They're negative reciprocals because Will knows they're perpendicular. Good job, Will. I got the slope. What else do I need to find to write the equation?
Y-intercept.
The y-intercept. Ooh. Do we know a point on AA prime I could plug in for x and y? Look back. Do we know a point that I could plug in from A prime? Yeah, what is it? 1, 4. Point A. You're absolutely right. 1, 4. So let's do it. So in for y. Remember, point A was 1, 4. That's on the line. So I can plug in 4 for y equals, Will just gave us the slope, -2. What's the x coordinate I want to plug in here? 1. And then let's solve for the y-intercept now. Ooh. Our goal right now is finding the midpoint. That's what I'm trying to have you guys do right now. Find the midpoint of AA prime by seeing where those two intersect each other. Go ahead, solve. I'll ask somebody in a second, what'd you get for B? Hannah, when you're ready, let me know what you got for your y-intercept.
I got 6.
6, me too. Good job.
I also have a question.
Oh, I'm sure I have an answer. Maybe. Go ahead.
So, if you know the slope, don't you not have to do that equation? Because you could just use the slope to find the y-intercept.
Okay, yes, you are correct, Hannah. I like that thinking, but here's where you may run into a problem. If the y-intercept is not a whole number like it is now. If the y-intercept is 2.6, that's going to be tough on you. Okay, so yes, you can do that, Hannah. That's fine as long as it lands on a whole number. Okay? Great thinking. All right, so we know AA prime, the equation is going to be y equals -2x plus 6. All right. All right, here we go. Now I know the equations of both lines. I just want to know where they intersect. And you guys did this in Algebra 1 last year, but I don't want you to do it the same way. I am just going to let you guys use your calculators to find out where they intersect. Wait, use our calculators? What is he talking about? All right, here you go. Grab them. Go to your y equals screen. You guys remember, hey, before we do this, do you remember doing this? Using your calculator to find where lines intersect? It might have been a while, but you have, okay. Type in both equations. So you can type in your line of reflection first, 1/2 x plus 2. And then your line segment equation we just found, what was it, -2? Yep. -2x plus 6. And I'm going to try to find where they intersect because that point of intersection is the midpoint. All right, graph so we can see it. All right, before I go any further, does anybody's graph just look nuts? And I need to help you fix it right now. Yes? If that's the case, I see some of you on the screen shaking your head yes. On the top row, you have a zoom button. Hit your zoom button, and it should be choice 6, which is standard. That puts it back into standard mode, your regular settings. Yes, Radhika?
When I click graph, it gives me an error.
Okay, go back to y equals. Do you have the negative symbol and not the subtraction symbol for -2x?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, now keep scrolling down. Make sure nothing else is written in like y3 through y10.
Nothing's in there either.
Everything I have up on the screen right now is typed in for you?
Yes.
And you hit graph and you get an error?
Yeah.
What's the screen saying?
It says error window range, and then it says 1 quit.
Okay, so go hit your zoom button. Hit your zoom button, and then number 6 standard, and hopefully you see the lines.
Oh, do I have to do that every time?
No, you should be good now.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that'll be good. That just resets your calculator to the normal 10 by 10 XY axis. Ellie, go.
I get an error stat.
Okay, maybe, yep, I think I know. Go back to y equals. Is something highlighted at the top? Yeah, get those off there. Just hit enter. So you don't want those highlighted. And then let's try it. And then okay, go to zoom. Yep, top row. Yep, and then when it's ready, whenever it's ready. And then 6. When it allows you to go there. There you go, 6.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else? Calculate. Yep, Quincy.
Oh, I had the same error. It was the
Okay, yep, get that plot here. Go back. White. You don't want that plot highlighted for whatever reason it was highlighted. We're good. Good?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Calculator?
well, I did Zoom 6 now and it's still not showing up.
Go back to your y equals screen. 0.5x. Yeah, use the subtraction sign.
Yeah, I have it.
Use the negative button.
Oh, the negative.
Yeah, it's because it's negative 2x. Boom. And then y is going to be, go back to your y equals screen. 0.5.
B do I have to put 0.5?
It shouldn't matter. I don't know why. Try, go ahead and clear that out. And just do actual alpha 1/2. I don't see why that should make a difference though, but 1/2. X. We'll get there. It's 2. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why a 0.5 wouldn't cut it. Unless, no, I have no idea why I wouldn't cut it. All right. Do we remember how to find the point of intersection? Maybe some of you guys are going ahead now. Second, trace. Yes. Second, top row, you see trace. You'll see calculate written above it. Second, trace. And then pretty obvious which one we want, right? Intersect, number 5. Then your little spider jumps on the screen. This is the favorite part of everyone. It's like playing video games here. Hit using your right and left arrow buttons. Get that spider right on top of the point of intersection. It should say first curve at the bottom. Yeah, what you were telling your calculator is, yes, I have it on my first line where I need it. And then it'll say second curve. Yes, I also have the spider on the second curve where I need it. And then you want the calculator to take a guess, which is, yes, I do, because it's going to give me the point of intersection. And there it is. There's your point of intersection.
Aren't you thinking you should navigate over the point of intersection when you flip the first curve? You just need to make sure you're on the line.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, like I just hit enter a couple times. Then,
Okay. Yeah, you just need to get close in the ballpark. So 1.6, 2.8. That's the point of intersection right now. So point of intersection was equal to 1.6, 2.8. Now, I keep calling it the point of intersection, but this is also the what of AA prime, that segment. That's the midpoint. All right, let's do this now. Let's go way back to, I guess, end of September when I showed you guys the midpoint. I know point A. That's 1.4. I now know the midpoint of the segment. 1.6, 2.8. And you're trying to find A prime. What's on the other side? Let's do it. I showed you guys what I called the skip method back in the day. M is directly in the middle. So as you go on the x-axis from +1 to +1.6, how many units did you travel? 0.6 units. And since the midpoint is directly in the middle, I got to make sure I match it on the other side. So from 1.6, I'm going to go another 0.6 units. And where do I end up on the x-axis for A prime? 2.2. And now let's do it for the y-axis now. From 4 to 2.8, where are you going? From 4 to 2.8. Down.
Minus 1.2.
Down 1.2 units. So we got to match it. If we're in the middle, we got to match it. Minus 1.2 again. And then where do I end up for a y coordinate of A prime? 1.6. Yep. There's A prime. And if you want a quick check, let's see if we're in the ballpark. Make sure you're on the other side of the line here. 2.2, 1.6. Let's go back up to our graph. Let's see. 2.2, about 1.6. Yeah, I was off a little bit, but hey, it's definitely on the other side of the line where I need it to be. All right, so finding the other point, finding the image. I need to know where the lines intersect. And the only way you find out where two lines intersect is if you have the equations to plug in to your graphing calculators. Yes?
So the questions we have on homework very long, considering we only have 2.
We have 2. One, okay, here you go. Sophia just asked, hey, we only have 2 questions. That's not a typo. First question is, take this triangle, which has 3 points, and reflect it over this line. So what we just did here, what with 3 points now. And then the last question, I believe, is find the line you reflected over. So find the equation of the perpendicular
So you just
bisector.
Find the equation of the second connecting the 2, then you find the intersection.
Using your graphing calculator and then do that skip method. But you're going to have to do that 3 times. Okay? And we are not giving up, honors kids. We are not giving up on this. All right? I'll be after school today if you want to just stop in the review or the meet to ask any questions. Before you log off, Tuesday, L through Z, you got your first quiz, A through K, and remote students on Wednesday next week. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Woo. That was an intense one.